Welcome back into what Southside Joe would call the liturgical locker room. Remember, the priest says a prayer for every item he puts on. Remember, one of the prayers we said was from Isaiah, bride and bridegroom. So these vestments are wedding garments representing the bride and mostly the bridegroom. The last piece I have to put on before I go into the nuptial chamber is my cross. It's a tradition in a lot of Eastern churches where a priest wears a cross, a pectoral cross they call it. It's usually a gift from his bishop. So I have one here. Very proud of it, but you have to be humble. Now we're going to take the next step. We're going to go into the Holy of Holies, the bridal chamber, for our next preparation. We're going to come in here. We're going to go past the main altar. And we're going to go to the side of it, sort of north of it. And what we're going to see here is a special table called a table of preparation. This is a whole rite of preparation that's going to take place here of the gifts, where the priest will take the bread. In the Byzantine church, we use leavened bread. And also, it's got to be altar wine, not just any wine, altar wine. And it's going to do a rite of preparation with these gifts, the bread and the wine, a little bit of water, so that these gifts will be ready to be brought into procession at the great entrance in liturgy, put on the altar of sacrifice, and then consecrated into the body and blood of Christ. Now what we do is, we take this bread and we cut it into pieces, the center piece being the main piece, or the lamb, the host. And for every action of cutting, in which we use a lance and a knife, the priest says a prayer. Usually it's a quote from Scripture. See, in the Eastern churches, every move we make, we utter a prayer. Everything becomes prayer. Total prayer, unceasing prayer. And right above this table of preparation, sometimes it's called an altar. It's not really an altar, it's a table of preparation. Right above it is the icon of what? What does it say? You got it. Christ the bridegroom. And look, he's being prepared. That's when he was scourged and stripped, remember, and mocked by the soldiers. He was being prepared for what will happen on the cross. Now we see that as all torture and suffering and mockery, but actually, mystically, remember, you got to think mystically. Mystically, he was just being prepared for the consummation of a mystical marriage on the cross. We'll get to that later. See, they thought they had him, but Christ knew what was really going on. And that's what we have to do. We have to think mystically. Here, the liturgy is not just going to Mass or attending a service. It's about a mystical marriage that we enter into between Christ, the bridegroom, and the bride. When the gifts are prepared, they are then covered with chalice covers. And then they stay here until it's time to bring them in procession. You see how it's step by step, it's like preparing for a magnificent wedding. Weddings take a lot of preparation, don't they? A lot of preparation. Well, that's the same thing with the liturgy. We're going to take a next step right here in the bridal chamber tomorrow.